Hey guys, how's it going? It's Chris here, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about mental illnesses and how they affect not only me, but everyone, and if you suffer from a mental illness, just kind of to help you better understand that what you're going through and that you're not alone in that aspect. I'm not, a therapist. I'm not somebody with any sort of excelled education based around the study of human psyche. I'm not one to coach you on past traumas and tell you how you can better your life, and I'm not a source that you should 100% believe as truth. But moreover, I am somebody who has experienced these things, and I have opinions to offer you that may benefit you. So take everything I say as with a grain of salt, but from experience, okay? Now, I have been suffering from mental illnesses for quite a long time. People make the depression jokes and PTSD jokes and everything like that, and they just go, "Oh, how can you be depressed? You're laughing, you're smiling, and you're social, whatever." But and we're not talking about one mental illness. We're talking about a few things, but we're focusing right now on depression and anxiety and stuff, and how the word does not define your nature, okay? Just because you're depressed doesn't mean you spend all day, every day, slumped down in your PJs, binging Netflix. Well, if you're the majority of the millennial generation, maybe you do, but no, just because you're depressed doesn't mean that you sit around just with your head hung low and you just don't do anything, don't talk to anybody. Some of the most energetic people I know, some of the most outgoing and social people I know, you find out are the most depressed. They suffer internally. When you suffer, the world wants you to do it in silence, because a lot of the world doesn't care or doesn't have time or doesn't have the sympathy to deal with your suffering. We're all humans, we all have our own problems, and the sooner you come to terms with the fact that the problems are your own, and that everyone else is suffering just as you are, that's like the first step in helping you get past that issue, is to understand it. The first step is understanding that you have a problem, even if it is self-diagnosed, as weird as that sounds. If you have the resources, if you have any way to actually diagnose a mental issue, do it, okay? I would suggest you go about it, because there are ways it can affect your life. Like, if you are found to be terminally depressed, you may not be able to get a firearm, depending on your state. You may not be able to do some things like that. But to better understand who you are, to help you cope and get past it, I think having professional opinions will help that. You can have friends and family tell you that you seem depressed, or you can go on WebMD and self-diagnose yourself as depressed or anxious or have post-traumatic stress or anything like that, but that only helps you so far. That only helps you on a personal understanding level. You need a professional understanding level, okay? So that's one thing I'd like to suggest to you. If you have the resources, try to get the issue zeroed in on and identified. And that being said, if you do go with that route, be honest with yourself, with the doctor, with whoever you're talking to. Be honest 100%. I've gotten papers multiple times, right? I've gone through this stuff where I've had to answer questions about depression and about anxiety. I have filled out these papers tens of times, and every single time, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, every single time the answers were different. I'd go back and I would sit there and I'd fill out I would fill in bubbles for multiple choice of, on a scale of 1 to whatever, how do you feel with this on this day and this? And on average, what do you feel this? And my answers range drastically. And I'm not sure if that's a symptom of some minor bipolar or something like that, but it's because depression and anxiety isn't a constant. It's changing. It's always changing. When you're looking at the sheet of paper and you think, well, on average, I'd say I'm probably a 2 or 3 out of 5, 5 being the most, depressed when it comes to being alone, being in solitary for a few hours. When I'm separated from people, I find myself more depressed. However, a month later, you might find yourself like, honestly, that's about a 2. That's about a 2. It's less, whatever. I'm not that depressed, because it's always changing in you. You don't fully understand. You can't fully grasp these feelings, and honestly, it's hard to express them and it's hard to identify them in your own brain. Me, myself, I'm depressed, okay? Guys, this commentary is rambly. I haven't scripted anything. I'm just going, okay? With every idea I get, I'm just going. So forgive inconsistencies. Forget if I forget to go back to something or something doesn't fully make sense. I'm just kind of riffing, okay? I'm just talking to you guys about this stuff because when I get to talk about this on stream, it doesn't get too in depth because I'm split focused. Me, myself, and I am depressed, but I'm not always depressed. That fluctuates, okay? And then you add, you know, it fluctuates. So when I'm fluctuating up and down, some days I am go-lucky, I am jumping up and down, I'm off the walls, I'm acting like a 10-year-old. Ask Sam, I'm having the time of my life, I couldn't care less. I'm getting on her nerves because I'm in such a good mood. I'm in such a pokey, fun, goofy, doofus mood. I'm all over the place. And then there are some days where you couldn't get me to budge. You couldn't get me to even smirk, to laugh. You could fart in my face and play the trumpet, and do a backflip, all within 5 seconds, and I would just be completely nihilistic, however you want to pronounce it. I always say nihilistic, but it sounds dumb when I say it out loud, but in my brain it sounds right. So, it's just, that's the thing. If you're depressed, it's not constant, okay? It's going to fluctuate, and that's what people need to understand. Just because you are depressed, or you have depression, doesn't mean that you're one note. It doesn't mean that you are this, and that cannot define you under that stigma of being depressed. What does it mean to be depressed? Okay, look up Wikipedia. What does it mean to be depressed? Okay, well, there's multiple definitions, but as a person, it's a loss of feeling, a loss of interest, a loss of will. You know, it's you not being able to process things around you because it's a mental blockade. It's a wall that you build in your head and you won't let yourself out of. And a lot of times, yes, it is, you attribute it to yourself. You do it to yourself. You build these walls out of fear, out of anger, out of malice, out of something. You build these walls to keep something in or to keep something out. And a lot of the times it stems from, obviously, emotional trauma or just being in high-stress situations for an extended period of time. You build these walls. Me, personally, I have been depressed since, I want to say I was like 15 is when this stuff started to kick off in my life, when all these things. So like I said, I was about 15 when I first underwent like feeling depressed and started to get all these emotions, and that's already complicated enough time in your life as it is. You're going through puberty, you're in school, it's middle school, this is like the show and tell of your life. You're trying to be somebody in school at the same time trying to keep who you are inside, trying not to fall in like the cliques and trying to just impress everybody while still being yourself. There's hormones coming to play. It's so confusing, and then all of a sudden getting depressed. Like when I first got depressed, it was a thunder strike. My entire life was grabbed and just cracked in half. It was cracked in half, grind the edges together, and then place me back together with a bunch of dust beneath. That was like basically what happened when I became depressed, okay? And it was, you can watch my Draw My Life if you want to understand some more like the events that took place to cause that. Basically, with the series of events that were going on within like the 2 or 3 years that most of this stuff took place, a lot of my past, a lot of like 12 and under, just like is gone. I cannot even to this day access a lot of those memories, and that's heartbreaking to me. I can't remember like seeing there's a lot of stuff in my life that I just don't have anymore. That's just not a part of my brain. It's there. I can't get it though. I built those walls and they can't come down. And I don't know how to bring them down. And I've tried. I can sit there and think until I'm blue in the face. And I can't remember a lot of stuff. My earliest memory, and I have no context for exactly when it happened or what was going on around that time, but I think I was maybe 5 or 6. I was at my grandmother's daycare house, and I wanted to have a drawing contest with the other kids at daycare, or a coloring contest rather, because I knew I could stay inside the lines better than them. That's it. That's like the earliest thing I can think of, and I honestly don't even know if that's a real memory. That might have just been a dream. That could be fabricated to fill empty space, to fill void space in my brain of where memory should be. I could have fabricated that because I don't know if that's real. And so I blocked this stuff because I became depressed. When I became depressed, like I said, it was cracked me in half. It was all of a sudden everything I've ever known just kind of fell around me. It was like, just imagine you standing here. This is me, okay? This is depression. I'm standing here, an event trigger, and then my body crumbles to dust and rubble. All that's left is a little floating soul. That's me, chilling out, hanging out, whatever, looking at the desolation that was once everything that I am. And then my soul slowly finds pieces on the ground and just puts them back into where they belong. But a lot of those pieces end up looking the same. They end up being very confusing to a soul that just had its entire existence fractured, okay? And it's trying to put the pieces back, but some of the pieces get put back in the wrong place. Some of them get put on backwards. Some of them just are slightly askew in their place, and the glue doesn't fit. And then I'm sitting here now, holding myself, and my body is I'm weak. It's some things don't feel right. I feel numb. Some connections aren't there where they should be. I look normal, but inside the pieces are not correct. And the rest of your life, and most of the time throughout your life, you're spent just trying to rearrange those pieces. You're trying to get yourself back into something recognizable, something that you know who you are, because in that time when your body falls apart, you don't know who you are anymore, and you are trying to piece yourself back together. And that is one of the hardest, most complicated things that a human can ever do, is pick itself from rock bottom and try to put itself back together. And a lot of times when you fall into that depression, you are in a complete state of just numb emptiness, and all you do is loathe and feel pity for yourself and the rest of the world, and you're alone. You know, people are trying to help you. Sometimes people are trying to help you, sometimes you're completely alone. If the people are trying to help you, you don't know how they can help you. You don't know how to help you. You're not complete. You're wrong, okay? And they're trying to help, and they want answers. They're asking questions, they want answers. And you're just looking at them like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't understand what's going on. And you just have to watch the light in their eyes slowly begin to gray as they're slowly just losing hope in recognizing you. And I've seen that personally. I've in my life watched sentiment and hope fade from my mom's eyes as she would look at me trying to find her son, who's now stuck inside of this darkness, and she understands, and I see that in her eyes when she saw me that day, that she was just looking into a shell. She was trying to find the light in me, but the light was so shrouded, and she was just scared. And it's a very real thing. But the problem is with depression, and when a lot of people start to actually get help, and they do talk to people, guys, I recommend so strongly to connect with people. If you're depressed, talking to people, being honest, get yourself a camera, talk to the camera, don't even show it to anybody, just vent to the camera and delete it. Vent, get it all out, vent, watch it once, and then delete it. And just talk to people, reach out to people, and let people reach out to you, because if you're trying to put yourself back together, a little bit of help from people who know you, people who understand you, people who know where some of these pieces go, can help you get yourself in the right place, can help you pick yourself back up and just be a little bit more whole. But sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. Now me, in my life, I've always had a lot of people to reach out to. I have a big family, lots of siblings, my parents, my grandparents, whatever, and I can always talk to them, but depression stops that. It makes you not want to talk to people. You have to. You have to try. Because if you don't try, then you always lose. You will always fail, and it might take too long, and you might be too lost. I waited too long, and I suffered because of that. I waited too long to reach out and to actually try. Okay, I didn't give it my effort. I didn't put myself fully into their arms and have them try to lift me. I didn't do it. I put out my hand. They took my hand, but I didn't pull. When they pulled me up, I was limp. You know, I was like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm reaching out for help, whatever. But I was just too lost in my own my own world of death and decay that I just couldn't. And today, I still suffer for it because I am emotionally absent a lot. A lot of my emotions are fabricated, and it's hard for me to say that to you guys because I feel like I've been dishonest to you, but a lot of times if I'm laughing, the laugh is just a laugh. The emotion a lot of times isn't there. If you watch like my face in streams, you'll see me smile, and I'm happy, but I'm happy under me. Just this is what would make people happy, you know. It makes me feel good inside, but that good feeling is nothing but a tiny ember. It's just an ember it's like lighting a match, blowing out the match, and that little bit of heat that's left on the stem is like the emotion that I'm feeling compared to everybody else's that is the flame. And that little bit of emotion is quickly snuffed out as I'm tossed in the toilet or washed under the sink. It's gone very quickly. The feelings don't last. The positivity doesn't last. And it makes it really hard to just care. It makes it hard to do little things every day. And I'm not saying all this. I'm using myself as an example, okay, guys? I'm not saying this isn't a pity me video. This is me saying that depression and mental issues are real, and they can completely destroy a life. And a lot of times you just don't even know. You'll be looking at somebody and you have no idea that they're suffering so hard. And it is one of the worst things. I mean, obviously there's worse things than being depressed. And a lot of times when it's dumb because it's growing up in a depressed section of your life, like I said, with middle school and stuff, where you're making friends is like where it all counts, and being social is where it all counts, and you're depressed in school, and people look at you and just like, oh, you're just sad. You're just upset about something. You're emo. You're taking things too hard. You're taking it too seriously. It's more than that. It's an emotional disconnect from your peers and your family and yourself. It's like taking. It really is. Like I keep coming back to it, but just it is. It's like taking a piece of you, a puzzle piece of you, a piece that you just take. You rip out the piece, you throw it on the ground, and you just cry and you stomp on it, you spit on it, and you hate it. You hate it and you love it because it's you. And you pick it up, you put it back, and it just doesn't fit anymore. The piece is shaven down, it's worn away, and it just doesn't fit right. And now it's stuck that way forever. And you can't repair it. I can't repair this emptiness inside me. And like I said, there are days where there's just nothing. There's just you can't even try. And I don't know why. I look into people's faces and my eyes are just like, I don't know why I'm like this. I'll get super mad for no reason. I'll be happy. I do experience happiness, okay? I'm in a very good mood. When I feel accomplished, when I'm busy and I'm working, I get videos and I get drawings, then I write something, I make a new video that I really enjoy, I make some music, I listen to certain music, I get actually happy, but that feeling is faded and it doesn't last long, but I do experience that happiness. And then for no reason, Sam gets home from work and I'm just upset. And I'm just mad, and I don't know. I was fine the whole day, and now I'm just mad. And it's like, why? I think to myself, why am I mad? What do I have to be upset about? I have a beautiful girl who I love with everything that I am, and with my falsified emotions, and what I can even try to comprehend as love is all I have to give to her. And I'm mad, and I don't know why. And you just don't know what to say. You don't know what to tell them because you don't know what to tell yourself. And that's, to me, that's what depression is. It's just emptiness that you can't describe. And you have to live with that. It doesn't go away. Now, I want to briefly touch on, before I end this, another thing, which is, even on, well, a couple things. On top of the depression, you get anxiety on top of that. And anxiety makes you feel everything all at once, 1,000%, except you feel all the emotions, but then you multiply fear on top of everything. So you're happy, but you're afraid to be happy. You're worried and you're happy. You're ecstatic, but you're afraid. and then you shut down because you get so hyped and so angry, you have too much energy going through, you don't know what to do with it, and then you crash and you're depressed again. That's a summation, adding the anxiety on top of that, because this video is going way too long. But I think my happiness stems from anxiety too. I get really happy, but I just get very worried at the same time. If I get a donation during stream, I'm very happy. I have to play it off like it's nothing. I have to be very just like, oh, that's awesome, thank you. But it's like but as soon as I say thank you, I'm like, thank you is not enough. You can't just say thank you. They just gave you money for free. They just gave you money, and you're just gonna say thank you? Like, what's a thank you? It's just a word. I appreciate it. Oh, you appreciate it? Oh, yeah, they hear that all the time. People hear that all the time in stream when they say, I appreciate it. It's like, it doesn't matter. You know, those are just words. Now you have to do something for them. You have to be better. You have to be funnier. You have to live up to some expectation now. Because somebody's here watching and they said something nice about you, now you have to be a better person. You have to be not to prove to them, but to prove to yourself that I'm not a piece of shit because I just took your $1 for free. You know, now I have to be better. Now I want to send you something. I want to make you something because I don't feel like I earned that dollar. I don't feel like I deserve that dollar. Now I have to give you something in exchange for that dollar because that's how money works. It's a series of exchanges. And even though my content is the exchange for the money, theoretically, is the understanding of how it works, I feel like I don't deserve it and I have to somehow earn it. But even if I did something to earn it, it's not enough. If I raked my grandmother's yard and I was out there for 4 hours raking and cleaning up her yard and she gave me money, I wouldn't want to accept that money because it's like, she's my grandmother, I love her. Why should I be, why would I go and, you know, she's like, I'm going to do it for her anyway. I love her to death. Yeah, if she asked me to do it for free, I would absolutely do it for free. But now she's handing me money. I need the money. Money's fantastic. I want a fucking Red Bull. But no. Oh, I drove all the way here. Now she's giving me gas money. But it's like, I don't want to accept the gas money. I would have come out here anyway to help you. But this is what goes on. Even for something so small as you're in the stream and you said, hey, you're one of my favorite YouTubers. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. And I'm just like, no, why? You could have someone so much better. Why me? You know, why would you say that about me? And I spin, then I crash. Then I crash, and then I get depressed. And then trying to bring yourself back up is a challenge. But every time you crash, there's another piece is broken, and then you have to try to fit that one and finagle it into who you are, and then it's a mess, and it doesn't go away. And that's why, at the end of it all, if medication is the thing that helps you, I personally don't believe in the medication. I believe figuring out in your own head is the best medicine. Just coping, understanding, dealing, and surpassing is the best way to deal with mental illness, but sometimes that's not enough. If you have to take medication, you have to educate yourself on the medication that you're taking, and you have to be aware of what you're doing to your body, how that limits you, and how that will make others look at you. You have to be aware of all these things before you commit to that, but it can help. It has helped. One of my brothers is also very depressed. He suffers a lot in the same way that I do, and he does take medicine, and he has improved significantly because of it. It put me in the hospital, and it destroyed me for a period as well, but it helped him. So I'm not against you taking medicine, but you have to be smart with it, okay? You have to be very smart with it and understand what's going on and educate yourself. So at the end of all this, I just want to say that these things are real, and it's not taken seriously in the world. It's not taken seriously enough. You know, people want to ban guns, okay? But they don't even think twice about what the mental illnesses behind the people who got the guns and went to go shoot up a place. You know, it's like, but if you have a mental illness, you're not a bad person. It doesn't immediately make you a bad person. It just means that you need some kind of help or understanding to function as a human being, and that's okay. It's okay to need help. It's okay to submit to help, and for friends and family, that's what they're there for. We're all humans. We help each other. And it just, mental illness, I feel like it's not always taken so seriously, or it's just brushed off as something, I don't want to deal with it. You're just sad. And yeah, there are a lot of people who self-diagnose and they are just currently sad. They're currently depressed. You can feel depressed without being depressed. You can feel the emotions because it is part of you to feel those things without actually being diagnosed as somebody with that thing. You know what I mean? You can feel sad, you can feel defeated, you can feel anxious, but you might not be You might not have anxiety. You might not have post-traumatic stress disorder. You're just experiencing the emotions. You may experience them more in your life because of some events or something that's always happening in your life. Maybe you need a new lifestyle, I don't know. But just because you're feeling them doesn't mean you have them. Take it from somebody who has these things that, one, it's annoying when people try to, it's like when people fucking say they have OCD. It's like, go fuck yourself. You don't have OCD, you're an asshole. I like my things to be perfect, because like OCD tendencies. No, you're a prick. Shut up. Different topic. But, yeah, they're real. Take it seriously, and if you have these issues or know someone that does, look for help, talk to people, encourage them to talk to people, do everything in your power, because you don't want to ignore it. Because if you ignore it for too long, and it doesn't go away, it doesn't leave you. The sooner you get a grasp, it's very important that you get a grasp on this and have an understanding of this, because otherwise you're going to live your entire life in misery. You need to, it needs to get under control and understood. So, I guess that's it for this really rambly topic video, guys. I have no idea. I guess, I don't know. I'm not going to ask for likes or anything specific in the comments. Just, how was your day today? Stay positive. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.